Okay, so for this class, what you are going to want is probably a mat and then a large fitness ball. Sometimes I think they're called Swiss balls. I don't even know anymore, but that's what you're going to want here. So we're just going to do about 45 minutes of some Pilates inspired work using the ball. As always, I will try to give lots and lots of options, but ultimately do what works for you and your body. And honor that wherever you are today. So let's get started. So let's come onto our backs, and then once you're there, take a moment. Actually, let your legs rest on the ball. Take a moment to settle here, actually. And maybe just put one hand on your abdomen and one hand on your chest if that feels good. And just start by taking a few breaths in and out. And just starting to feel where breath moves into the front and in the back of the bodies, or body. Inhaling through the nose, perhaps exhaling through the mouth or the nose, whatever feels better for you today. Letting the legs just start to feel heavy in the hip sockets. And then perhaps put your hands on the sides of your ribs and try it there, breathing into the side ribs. Easy exhale, let it go. Again, breathing in and out. Just starting to feel where can you find ease and movement through your breath today. And letting that all go. All right, now from here, let's just put our feet on the ball. Let's see how all these leg warmers work with this situation. Your knees may be more or less bent than mine. And we're going to play with a little bit of footwork here with the ball today. So just keeping the pelvis level. So I'm not excessively arched. I'm not excessively tucked. You may need to shift your feet. But just start by stretching the legs out. Perhaps on the exhale if you need a little more support. Maybe the inhale if you want to challenge that core stability of holding your pelvis still. And then just use your hamstrings to pull the ball in. And then sending it out. And then just pulling the ball in. And all I'm trying to see here is, can I keep this space between my ribs and my pelvis stable as I move the ball? So let's actually get the shoulders involved now, just to kind of warm up both joints at the same time. So as you stretch your legs, reach your arms long, stretch them out, feel the shoulder blades connect in towards the spine of the mat, and then feel the shoulder blades widen as you pull the ball back in. This does two things. It's going to make... It's going to challenge stability, right? Because you don't have the help of the arms. So you can always put your arms down if you feel a little too wobbly. It's also just going to wake up your shoulders. All right, now you can stick with this option if you like. Or if you're feeling okay, let's get a little bit adventurous. Pick up your left foot to tabletop. Right foot will be on the ball. And now I want you to stretch your right leg. Open your left arm, try not to rock and roll through the pelvis and ribs, and then pull it in. Do a few like that. Open the arm as you reach the leg. Now, if I don't let myself roll off to the left side, I actually really do feel my core engaged just in trying to keep my right side of my ribs and pelvis connected to the mat. Good. Let's go one more. Remember, you can always stick to 2 legs and 1 arm, or 2 arms and 1 leg. Okay, switch sides. So find your left foot on the ball, float your right leg to tabletop, left leg moves, right arm moves. A little bit of reciprocal work here. So why do we like reciprocal work? Keep these going, inhaling and exhaling where it makes sense. Well, cross-body patterning is really good for your brain. It's really good for coordination. Notice if your knee gets closer and closer to your chest, can you hold it a little bit away from you? It's a pattern that we need when we walk. Not that this is exactly a gait pattern, but still. It's just good to do cross-body stuff from time to time. And pull it in. Let's go one more. Take it out. And then bring it in. Good work. And then replace your foot on the ball. Okay, from here, let's start to go into a little bit of pelvic curling. So arms can stay down for this next one. You're taking an inhale here. Exhale, just gently push into your feet, tuck your pelvis under a little bit. Roll your butt up, maybe an inch, just mini hover, and then just roll it down and then let it go. And you should start to feel something hamstring-esque. Maybe glutes too. If your hamstrings cramp, this is the one time I'll say squeeze your butt if you gotta, no problem. So press into your arms, press into your feet, roll your pelvis a little bit, hover your butt off the mat. Try to keep the throat open so you don't just dump into your neck, and then just rolling it down. Oh, hi, glutes. Can you keep the ball still? Can you pull it even a little towards you? If that's all feeling good, this time inhale, exhale, push into your feet, start to roll up, maybe a little bit, or if you're feeling it, maybe a lot. Throat is open, inhale, there's the hamstrings reaching through the front of the legs, and then rolling the pelvis back down. Good, keep those going. Now, if the ball is a little much for this particular variation, maybe you just hold the ball today and you just do pelvic curls up and down instead. Or maybe you don't use the ball at all. Maybe you just do bridges. Good. Let's go 2 more, which should be enough time for me to replace the ball. So pushing into your feet, tucking your pelvis, lifting your buns. Inhale, I definitely feel my hamstrings. I don't know about you. Rolling it down. One more time, inhale here. Exhale, tuck under. Rolling up. And then rolling it down. And perhaps your hamstrings are a little cooked. That is okay. We will give them a bit of a break. So now place your feet on the ground. Continuing our little warm-up, hold on to the ball with your hands. So using the ball for feedback here. Now, of course, if you don't love the ball, you don't have to use it. You can always put it down and just do this with body weight. So gentle press on the ball. And if you press from the thumb side, you'll feel your shoulders kind of round in. So what I want you to do is just kind of press a little bit from the pinky side, almost spin your elbow pits to face in towards each other and you a little bit. And then notice if that kind of creates a little bit of openness in the front of the chest. And then from here, just start by reaching the arms up to the ceiling. Feel the shoulder blades glide apart. Little squeeze on the ball, and then let the arms come back down. Try that a few times. Little bit of a reach. The feet are connected. The pelvis is just level and relaxed and coming down. Little reach. And lowering down. One more time. The weight of the ball might actually start to give you some feedback to the shoulders and settling down. Now, try to keep the arms at about 90 degrees. Start to bend your elbows, press and squeeze the ball, and watch your arms. Are your elbows pulling? You should think elbows in. And then press up, and even though this ball is not very heavy, I don't know about you, but I feel the back of my arms. So just starting to check in and feel those shoulder stabilizers. Shoulders are a little bit away from your ears. Press, 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 press. Backs of arms are hopefully engaging. Check if your shoulders have shrugged up. Maybe slide the ball down. So you're just moving at the elbows. Elbows pull into one another, parallel forearms and elbows if you can. Press, 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 press. Slow, deep, maybe even a little burny. One more time. And then exhale, press, 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 press. Whew. And then hold it there. If your arms are not on fire yet, I got one more for you, but take a break if you need. So now, keep the ball, slowly reach your arms over your head, but try to keep the ribs gently connected to the mat. Shoulder blades are moving and reaching with the arms, and then bring the arms back up to center. And again, and take the arms, reaching them overhead. And then reaching them back up to the midline. 2 more times. Taking the arms, reaching them overhead. Back up to the midline, feeling how those shoulder blades glide along the mat. The weight of the ball giving you feedback on where you are in space. And then taking it all the way up. Good work. Let the ball rest for just a moment and actually allow your arms to just kind of cradle the ball. So a little bit of a twisting experience here. What I want you to do is keep the ball gently connected to your sternum. So your sternum is the mover, and start to allow your ribs and your head to kind of roll a little bit over to the left. Maybe your right shoulder blade even lifts off the mat, but trying to keep the right butt cheek gently connected. So it's a little bit of rotation in the ribs, and then back to center. Also gives the arms a break. And then try to keep the left butt cheek a little bit anchored. Now notice, for me, I don't roll right very well. So what I noticed was my ball went right, but my ribs did not go right. So that was a cute little shift I did. So see if you can actually allow your sternum to move with the ball and your head to move with the ball. And it's a real act of the will, let me tell you. This is not intuitive for me at all. And then back to center. Let's go a couple more, maybe 2 more sets. So kind of slow, but feeling how you really actually can turn your ribs and your shoulder blades and your head, and back to the midline. And one more time, rotation. And then coming back to center, and just notice if that has sort of changed your relationship with the ground here, which hopefully it did. Who knows though? All right, from here, let's start to get into a little bit more movement. I want to do roll-ups, but maybe not quite yet. I don't know if I'm warm enough to do those well. So what I want you to do instead is place the ball down, and let's actually play a little bit with side bending and hip work. So what you're going to do is take the ball, and then you're going to kind of come onto one side. You're going to have to kickstand. And then you can come here, wherever you feel like you are somewhat stacked. And then you're going to roll your hip forward, so you're hopefully in a straightish line. Bottom leg is connected and long and strong. And then all I want you to do is just lift your leg up and touch it down. And those back toes can be kind of kickstanded if that helps you. Now, places where your arm can go. On the hip is a great choice. Overhead is a great choice. By the way, you can also just go here and free float your head and your arm. Or sometimes arm overhead, if you really reach through the arm, if you have that available, range of motion in your shoulder can be kind of nice. So any of those are great. Now let's hold up the leg. Do whatever you want with your arm. I think I'm gonna need to go hand on hip to not fall over. Bend your knee in, and I'm watching my knee that it's in the same line as my foot. So I'm not turned in. I'm actually, if anything, a hair turned out, but I'm mostly shooting for a parallel leg. Then I'm gonna take it out. I'm gonna do that a few times. Now remember, you could just do this side lying, no ball, no worries. So you could just do good old side legs on the mat if this feels a bit ambitious for you in this moment in time. Good. Hopefully you start to feel like you have a side butt. That's the technical term. It's your glute med. Good. Take it here. Do whatever you wish with your arm. I'm going to go back overhead, and then let's just do a few little pulses. Check that your knee is facing mostly forward, not in or out. Breathing where it makes sense. 4, 3, that's it. 2, and 1. Let it all come down. Good work. Okay, from here, come on up. Let's switch sides. So I'm not going to turn around because I don't think you really need to see my butt. So take a moment, leg out to the side, come on down onto your ball, however you can kind of configure it. Know that your 2 sides will be wildly different. That's normal. You can prop your head. You can just kind of snuggle the ball with your arm. Again, futz. Find the position that works well for you. I don't know about you. I feel like I'm suddenly in a foreign land when I get onto this hip. It does not know what to do. That's okay. That's part of the fun. All right, so square off. If you feel especially wobbly, good talk. You're not alone. Lift the leg up. Oh, this side is so much harder, and coming down. I think I like snuggling the ball, so I'm going to do that and just try to get my head in line so I'm not just in a neck side bend and then touching down. So again, lots of choices with the arm. Perhaps your hip is already a little bit on fire. You and me both. Good work. Reaching out from tail to head, reaching out from limb to limb. Okay, hold that leg up. I know you may not want to. I certainly don't. Bend your knee in. Can you keep your knee slightly above your foot? Yes, but I'd rather not. And then send it out. Good work. Sound effects are welcome. Whew. Now I'm trying to also keep my pelvis still, so I'm trying not to overly round through my pelvis or tuck. I'm trying to see, can I really move my leg bone relative to my hip bone? So that's something that I'm really focusing on here. I don't know about you, I'm getting a little shaky and burny. I think I got one more good one in me before it turns to chaos. So that's what I'm gonna roll with. Okay, send it out. Reach the arm if you wish. Couple pulses because we can. Let's go 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let it all go. Good work. And come on up. All right, from here, transitioning into a little bit more spine movement. So let's stay kneeling. You're gonna have the ball in front of you. And what I want you to play with here is just starting to play with rolling out the ball as you send your hips back. So kind of like a child's pose, but with a little bit of help from the arms. And then feel the shoulders glide up towards your ears, and then just push into the ball, press your pelvis forward. So kind of like a kneeling bridge. And again, butt goes back as you're gonna dive the ball forward. Feel your shoulder blades glide up, but away from, they don't hug into your ears too much. You're really reaching from the pinky side and the underside of the armpit, and then pressing the pelvis forward. Let's go 2 more times. Sliding it out, and then pressing into the ball to come in. And then one more time, sliding it out. So just getting used to the rolling of the ball. And then bringing it in. Okay, small reprieve before we go into some plank work. So I want you to slide it out. Stay here for a moment. And now press into the ball. And what I want you to do is really anchor the right hand. And then this is harder than it sounds, about FYI. So if you can't get your arm to lift up, you're just gonna open your arms a little bit wider on the ball, and that's okay. So the higher the hands are up on the ball, the more challenging this is. Anchor through that right arm and then lift the left hand off the ball, place it down, and then anchor the left arm and lift the right arm. And when you do this, yes, your shoulder blades are gliding up, but they're not hugging your ears. They're kind of hugging the rib cage. And you can even turn your palms slightly in, and that may help you do this. So if you need to play, what happens if you take the hands a little wider? It's going to be a little bit more accessible. So if that feels better in your shoulders, by all means, take the hands wider. Stretching through the arms. Whew. So I'm showing lots of little options. Play with the angle of your arms here. Let's go 1 more each way. Hello, shoulders. Who knew? Good. Press into the ball and then roll it all the way up. Nice work. Okay, from here, shoulders are hopefully awake. Let's move into a little bit of plank work. So, of course, you can always do this on your knees, on your toes. Be mindful, the ball does move. Safety. So, I want you to find a place first where your forearms are on the ball and you feel secure. Toes may be tucked or untucked. And just start by finding a nice long plank position and just seeing, how does this feel? If your plank looks more like this with your butt back today, you know what? I am absolutely okay with that. So keep that in mind. I'd rather you have integrity than feel like you're kind of hanging on for dear life. So otherwise, though, you can kind of roll out. And again, fuss as you need to. Find your position on the ball, and maybe this is enough for today. If you're feeling all right, though, perhaps play with rolling the elbows a little out so shoulder blades will glide up towards the ears, and then pulling the arms under you. Not easy. I'm going to keep, I think, I'll show you knees off the mat, but I'm shaking like crazy, so my form's actually better with knees down. But you can do it up here, yes? So if you feel strong in your planks and your shoulders, that is a choice. I'm going to stay down here. Don't tell anyone. Good, we'll go 2 more. Sending it out, pulling it in. 1 more time, sending it out, pull it in. Whew, sit back, slide the arms out. Take a little reprieve. That should have felt like something was happening. Here is hoping. Okay, so from here, come on up. Let's continue on our little adventure. So I want you to come back to your kneeling position. You can, of course, do this standing if that works better for you today. No shade. So grab the ball and then just hold it at your sternum. So that's option one. Of course, if the ball is too much, just you always have the choice of just like I drew my genie arms. So keep that in mind. Otherwise, if you want more challenge for your shoulders, you can always go with arms out in front of you. So let's do this. Actually, let's do a half kneel today. So pop one foot forward. I think that'll make this a little more dynamic. The back toes can be tucked or untucked. Again, play with what works for you. Arms reach out. Square off your pelvis as best as you can. So don't dump out to like one hip or the other hip. Just sort of see. For me, that means pulling my right hip back. And that really kind of gets my right butt cheek engaged. So arms are out, or here if your shoulders get tired, and all I want you to do is, without tipping over, rotate your chest. Remember, we did something like this in the beginning in the warm-up. To the right, and then come back to center. And then what I like about the ball here is rotate to the left. I can feel if I'm just turning my head or turning my arms, because I can feel if my chest is not actually moving. So what a lot of us do is we think we're rotating our ribs, and we're actually just moving our arms and our head. So if you feel like you've got that, try to keep your sternum tracing the ball. That keeps me honest. I think I can go further than I actually can. Thanks, ego. And then going the other way. Good work. Pressing your feet and shins or toes, whatever's connected into the mat for security. Stability and strength, lifting up through your spine. Let's go one more time. Fabulous work. Come on down, let's try the other side. So pop your other foot forward. Take a moment, square off. So the tendency may be to like want to hike the hip of the leg that's forward. So I almost think about like rotating it back and down. And sometimes for me, that gets me more square. And then arms are out. If you feel a little archy, maybe settle your ribs forward. Perhaps start with hugging the ball if you want a little bit of feedback to really feel what happens. And then let's twist to the left. I like going left so much more than I like twisting right. So interesting. Come back to center. And then twist the other way. And just notice, is there one side that's better at this? So again, my ribs don't like to go right. I always turn my head instead. So just trying to keep your head in line with the ball. If your head turns a little bit extra, it's fine though. You don't need to go militant. Now, if you feel like you got this, for funsies, know that it's not about the range of motion, it's about the precision of motion. Good. Pressing the ball, wrapping the elbows in, opening the chest. Whew. Good work. Hang in there. Maybe one more each way. Tiny but mighty movements. And last one like that. Come back to center, bend it in, let it go. Awesome work. All right, ball comes down. So from here, let's get into a little bit of hip extension. So you need a little bit of space. Keep that in mind, probably more space than you think. So perhaps back up with your ball on your mat. And then what's going to happen is you're going to kind of roll it on out. And then you are going to be pelvis on the ball, hands on the ground. Now, where the pelvis is on the ball is going to depend again on you. I have a very short torso, so you might even see me futz around, but your balance point might be different than mine, is my only point here. And again, explore toes tucked or untucked. Notice how we really are kind of still in like a plank position. So take a moment even, you can drop your chest down with that support of the ball and then push up and sort of find like what feels like a good position for you for your shoulders today. That is also helpful to know. And then when you feel like you've got it, I think I might need to be a hair more on pelvis versus lower back to really get my hip extension going. I want you to stretch your left knee and then keep that left knee straight as you lift the left leg up. Try and keep equal weight across both butt cheeks. It's not exciting necessarily, but if you get it right, I think if I go by here, yeah, I'll feel it more. And then lowering it down, feeling that leg mold the ball. And then stretch your right toes. Lift your right knee up. Can you stay square through your ribs and your spine? Now, your leg could be parallel. It could be turned out. Now, if you want to make things a little bit more challenging, let your toenails be what rest on the mat instead of your toes being tucked. But really, can you keep your knee straight? That is the question. and coming down. So the tendency, let's switch sides again. I'll show it on the next one. Or heck, maybe I've already done it, maybe I've already accidentally done it, is to bend the knee instead of lifting the leg. So if you really lift the leg, so bending the knee would kind of look like this. Notice how it looks like I'm higher, but my knee is soft. If I really keep my knee straight, like really, really, really straight in my pelvis level, I'm hopefully going to get a little more hamstring and butt action happening. Okay, coming down. Now you may want to keep your toes tucked for this one. We're going to see how well I do personally. Know that you're on an unstable surface, aka a ball, but this time stretch your left legs. Could you reach your right arm, and can you reach opposite arm and leg? It's like a crazy bird dog. And then come on down. And then retuck your toes, switch sides. You know, if it's a little chaotic, that's all right as long as it feels okay in your body. I'm really pushing down though. If I don't push down through my anchored hand and foot, I'm a mess on here. So I've got to really anchor through my arm and my leg. And you'll notice I'm not perfect either. That's not what this is about. It's just about learning about our body, negotiating gravity and unstable surfaces with thoughtful chaos. Whew. Good work. Maybe one more? Let's try it. That's the way. Coming down. All right, ease out of that. Maybe even just kind of slump over the ball for a moment. Breathe in and out a few times. Feel your tailbone tuck under. Feel your lower back just settle for a moment. Just melt your abdomen and chest into the ball. And ignore me while I have a small eye itch. Let me see time. All right, we're doing well. Okay, so from here, let's come on up and let's kind of continue on this little adventure where now we're going to be sitting on the ball. So make sure you got space around you. You may have to readjust. Heck, I might have to readjust. The ball is all about awkward transitions in my humble opinion. But what I want you to do now is just walk yourself on out so you have your chest somewhat supported on the ball and then your bum somewhat supported on the ball. And you take your hands behind your head. Allow the pelvis to maybe drop and settle for a moment. And again, you will have to fuss to figure out your perfect placement on the ball. That is okay. Let your head get heavy in your hands and just start to allow the crown of your head to reach to the back wall. Don't think about reaching for the floor. Just reach for the back wall. Feel that nice little bit of extension. And then just start to nod your nose and just curl up to the bottom of the rib cage. And then, if you're not sure, walk back a little, walk forward a little. Just start to explore this thoughtful rib curling. Now, a lot of the time I find when I'm working with someone and they get kind of like neck tension or pain in rib curling, I find sometimes this position feels better. And I think it's just because when we're on the ball, gravity is on our side. We have a little more support. Nodding your nose. Notice I'm not just trying to duck my head. I'm trying to really move my ribs down to bring my head up. And that got me a little more abs. Go figure. And coming back. On the next one, we're going to come up and we're going to hold it. So now once you're here, stay here. Maybe your arms stay behind your head. Maybe your arms reach forward. I don't know. Play. And I want you to look down your front. And I want you to tuck your pelvis and then settle your pelvis. And then tuck your pelvis. And settle your pelvis. I don't know about you. I am shaking. Tuck your pelvis. And settle your pelvis. 2 more times. Tuck your pelvis. And settle your pelvis. 1 more time. Tuck your pelvis. And settle your pelvis. And then to come out of this, perhaps try walking backwards or forwards. Take a moment, reset out of all of that fun. Okay, we're going to do one more thing here on the ball, but this time instead of our kind of mid-chest or on the mid-back on the ball, we're going to think more upper back and neck is supported on the ball. So to be somewhat centered on my mat, I'm going to back up just a little bit, I think. We'll see how it goes for me. And then I want you to walk yourself out again. And then Find a place where, like, I've got a microphone, so my world's a little different than yours, but your upper back and chest are connected. Maybe your hands are on your hips, maybe your arms are up, I don't know, up to you. Check that your feet are pretty parallel. They might almost feel pigeon-toed. And now you can let your head go back if you like. The only reason I really have my head up is because this mic is a little goofy. And again, feel free to play with where you are on the ball. And I want you to just play with dropping your pelvis down once you feel like you've settled, and then pushing up. And for me, I think letting my head come up a little bit feels better. So I'm going to do that. And you don't need to go all the way down, all the way up, but start to feel this folding in the hips. And then as you press your pubic bone to the ceiling, feel the activation in your hamstrings and glutes. Pretend that there are magnets pulling your knees together so you get a little bit of inner thigh. Good work. Driving it up. You should start to feel something back of legs-esque. Now drive up, hold here, reach the arms. And again, we're just going to do an isometric hold, but what I want you to do is play with, keep your toes down, but lift your right heel and place it down. Hello, glutes, don't tip the pelvis. Lift your left heel and place it down. If you want to get fancy, lift your right heel, open the left arm, theme from the beginning, and up, and then switch. Tiny but mighty movements. Hello, glutes. Hello, core. And taking it up. One more time. Good work. And then walk yourself out of that, however gracefully. Nicely done. All right, let's transition back to the floor for a moment, please. So once you are there, we are going to play now with a little bit of rolling up and down. So I feel like we are hopefully warm enough now that this will go a little bit better. So first variation, there's so many of these that you can do, is actually to just hold onto the ball, take your legs out. Knees can be, of course, as always, a little bit soft or even bent. Take the arms up, reach through those legs if you wish. Take an inhale here. Exhale, place your hands on the ball, nod your nose, and then push into the ball to roll yourself up and forward. Inhale here, and then exhale, take the ball with you to roll it back down. If you want, pick up the ball. Inhale here, exhale, press on the ball, roll yourself up, dive forward over the legs, inhale, sit tall, and then just rolling it down. Good. If you want a little bit more, inhale here, exhale, nod your nose. Keep the ball. As you come up, dive forward, a little trickier because you don't have the support of the ball on the legs, of course. Sitting up and then rolling down. Good. Inhale, arms go up. Keep the ribs gently connected. Exhale, nod your nose, coming up. Now, keep those going if you're doing well with those. If you need another choice, what I'd like you to play with is simply, with the ball or without the ball, roll a little bit back and then roll a little bit up. So here is an option should you ever need one. Leaning back, tucking under, and then sitting up nice and tall. Good. Let's go. One more, two more roll-ups on your count. Whatever makes sense for you today. Stretch, inhale. Exhale, nod your nose, coming all the way up. Let's all sit tall at the top. Meet me here. Okay, so from here, what I want you to play with is take your legs a little bit apart. So maybe mat width, I can sit up tall and be fine with my legs straight. For some of you, knees bent will be a better option, or even on a block if you have one at home. Totally fine. So just keep that in mind. Reach your arms out. I want you to inhale here, and I want you to exhale, nod your nose, reach the ball forward, rounding through the spine. So yes, a little bit of Pilates spine stretch forward. Notice I'm not dumping. I'm really trying to create an even curl, keeping my sit bones connected, and then push into the ball and sitting back up. Just reestablishing kind of midline. And again, nod your nose. My favorite, not so appropriate cueing for spine stretch forward is like you had a little bit too much to drink and you take a little nap at the table. Or if you're like me and you don't really drink very often these days, you have some very boring dinner party company and you take a little nap at the table. Good. Sitting nice and tall. Even maybe going into a small extension if you like. Reaching it out. Sitting really, really tall. Good work. And then from here, let's transition to our spines or to our backs again. So you're going to take a little inhale here. And then exhale, start to roll yourself down. And let it go. Okay, a little bit of inner thighs of fire. So what I want you to do, and again, if the ball is not your friend today for this exercise, cool, do it without the ball, I don't mind. But if you can, place the ball between your lower legs, like so. Arms can be on the ground or elbows can be bent. And all I want you to do here is squeeze the ball and try to bend your knees. No, it is not fun. And then I want you to take it up and watch your feet. Can they look somewhat parallel-esque? I don't know. Ooh, we will not do a lot of these. I know they are hard, right? So you can always, if you need, set your ball to the side and you can just press your inner thighs or your legs together wherever they happen to touch because we all have different anatomy, and do this instead. So keep that in mind. So bending the knees. Reaching the legs. One more time, let's say. Bend the knees. Reach the legs. And then take the ball and let your legs rest for just a moment. Nice work. All right, from here, let's end the way we started. If you don't love the ball, don't use it for this. But if it feels good or supportive to your body today, just allow your legs to drape over the ball. Any configuration. And just start to just gently, again, arms can go anywhere you like, just gently tuck the pelvis and then release the pelvis a few times maybe. So you don't need to take your arms up, but so it's so subtle you might not even be able to see me move, but just notice I'm sort of moving my pelvis like towards the ball and then my pubic bone towards my head. So that's all I'm trying to do here. Nice and easy. And then just kind of feel and find, where does your pelvis feel settled? Where do your legs feel soft and relaxed? Take a few breaths here. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth, and then just sort of start to play with reach the arms up, and then just kind of start to seaweed the arms. The elbows can bend quite a bit. And sort of feel how, as you seaweed the arms, how there's this natural movement of your spine and your head, and that's great. Allow that to happen. And then if you like, you can play with turning your head away from the arm as you reach it, and then switching sides. So there's no right or wrong way to do this. Just start to kind of allow yourself to spiral. And when I start to allow myself to spiral, I stop being a linear line and my arms start going out on weird diagonals. Start to allow the seaweed arms to move. So you are no longer linear, you are seaweed. And I start to get some nice movement actually in my shoulder blades here. So start to just sort of spiral where it feels good. Any way you like. And then let that all go. And now just maybe perhaps let's check in and see if we're in a slightly different place than we were at the beginning of our 45 minutes. So one hand on abdomen, one hand on chest. Breathe in and out. And just notice if you have a different experience of your breath when you do it this way than you did at the beginning. Perhaps put the hands on the sides of the ribs, breathe in and out there. And just notice if breath has changed at all in that dimension. Let your arms go in any place that feels good. Take a moment to just really allow the floor to have you. Just surrender to gravity. And we will call you cooked on that one. Thank you so much for joining me in your movement practice today.